Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Good evening. You are watching the Chairman's Report, brought to you by IBC 13 and the Commission on Filipinos Overseas. That is the agency under the Office of the President, mandated to connect the Filipino diaspora with the Philippines. I'm 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐬𝐚 II, Chairman of the CFO and your program host. Tonight's discussion will center on the power of books and the literary arts to shape national identity, preserve culture, and connect Filipinos across islands and continents. Books are not merely tools for learning. They are vessels of memory, imagination, and identity. They document our stories, express our values, and create a bridge between generations and across geographies. At the center of this movement is the National Book Development Board, the government agency mandated to nurture the Philippine publishing industry, ensure access to Filipino-authored content, and build a nation of readers. Joining us tonight is Charisse Aquino-Tugade, Executive Director of the NBDB and Co-Director of the Philippines as the guest of honor at the 2025 Frankfurter Buchmesse, the world's oldest, largest, and most influential book fair. She brings with her an interdisciplinary perspective shaped by years of leadership in both the public and private sectors, always with a focus on amplifying marginalized voices and building inclusive communities. As Executive Director, she envisioned and spearheaded the Book Nook, a national reading and storytelling program that provides Filipino books and reading spaces to young readers and their families from Ifugao to Tawi-Tawi. She also launched the Philippine Book Festival, the country's largest traveling book fair, dedicated to promoting Pinoy literature, authors, and publishers. With Charisse Aquino-Tugade at the helm, the NBDB is not only cultivating a national reading culture, but also restoring pride in Philippine literature, ensuring that stories by Filipinos, for Filipinos, are written, read, and celebrated in every region and in every home. Executive Director Tugade, welcome to the Chairman's Report.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's nice to see you again.
You too.
Well, let's start with the biggie. The thing on your plate now is the Frankfurter Buchmesse, the
Yes.
Frankfurt Book Fair. But I think you need to explain a bit, because when people hear the word book fair, they don't really grasp how big the Frankfurt Buchmesse really is. But
Yes, so if you're familiar with the book fairs here in the Philippines, you have the Philippine Book Festival, the Manila International Book Fair, and all of the regional book fairs. It's a retail fair. So you can go to the book fair, you can look at the book, and you can purchase the book directly.
so the books are on sale.
Yeah,
right?
the books are on sale. There's a discount. There's an author signing. You have something signed. In the Frankfurt Book Fair, it's quite different. It's a right-selling fair, meaning different authors and publishers from different countries bring their products to the marketplace, which is the Frankfurt Buchmesse, and they sell the rights to different territories. Number one. So if it's a book, you can sell your rights, let's say, to the Arabic territory. You
Right.
can sell it to Norway. You can look at the different countries and sell it for translation, and they will print the book on their own. So they don't really buy the book itself, they buy the content of the book. You also have cross-media adaptation. So you have producers from all around the world that are looking for good stories for their movies, their musical, their television shows. So they're also there at the Frankfurter Book Fair. So many people ask me, how big is it?
Right.
Right? There are, if you can imagine, SMX, so you think of that times about 25.
Right.
That's how large this
Right.
space is. There's several halls. We're in hall 5.0, 5.1, and I've only been to that hall because it's so big,
Right.
and you have 5 days in the fair. So 5 days actually doesn't cut it because there's just so many things to see.
Right. Well, the champion of this project is Senator Lauren Legarda. And I've heard her say that the Frankfurt Book Fair is more like the Olympics of the publishing world.
Yes.
And so this year, just like with the Olympics,
Yes.
there is a host. But of course, everything happens in Frankfurt. And you're working on that, the Philippine Guest of Honor this year.
Yes. Okay. So after Indonesia about 10 years ago was Guest of Honor, we would only be the second Southeast Asian country to be bestowed this great honor of Guest of Honor.
In 100 years of the Frankfurt.
Yes, in 500 years of the Frankfurter Book Fair. And the thing about that is our voice, sometimes we're always in the background.
Sure.
We're never front and center. And now is really the time we're given the opportunity where there will be more space for us and our narratives in the different languages that we speak. And whether you're from the diaspora or from your home country, you can share your story. And the way we do that is we have a pavilion, and it's a 2,000 square pavilion, quite huge. And in this pavilion, you will see a beautiful exhibition of the greatness of the Filipinos through literary, through culture. We have exhibitions. We have 2 stages, the proscenium and the arena, and there will be events every hour on the hour for 5 straight days.
Wow.
And that's just one venue. We have another venue called the National Stand, where we have the national stage and workshop areas where people can meet and greet with authors, have conversations about books. And there's another area beside that. It's called the Asia stage. So this is where we talk with our counterparts from Southeast Asia, because people are looking at Southeast Asia.
You guys
and
revived
Asia
that last year, because that was...
Yes, this is with Rex,
Rex,
Education under Attorney Buhain, who we call, he's the
very
godfather.
Successful, by the way. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we work with Attorney Buhain and the Vice President, Claudia Kaiser, of Frankfurt Book Fair. So we work with them on those programs. And we also have events around the city and around Germany.
Right.
So we have 6 exhibitions in different museums.
Wow.
We have film showings, performances. And this is to really display our who we are, and show to the world what we're all about. And it's high time that we do that, because we never get that space. I feel it's not enough. And we're always kind of in the background doing the creative work of everyone else, but we don't get the I guess we're not front. So now we're front and center.
Last year, you brought a large delegation.
Yes.
That was the largest, at that time, 50 member delegation. But this year, it's double or more than double.
Yeah, it's more than double. So we're bringing more than 120 creatives, authors, illustrators, editors, plus 50 publishing houses.
Wow.
So all of the publishing houses are many of them will be represented. From indies to the larger publishing houses, from educational to academic, all of them will be there representing the Philippines. And also you'll find other stands managed by the bigger publishing houses here. You have Vibal, Rex, CNE, you have Phoenix. They will all be represented there. They have their own stands as well, which is great. So we have this whole kind of, I guess, the Philippine Islands within Frankfurt Buchmesse.
And then I understand that Virgilio Almario and are there any other national artists?
Yes, our national artists will be there. So you will get to meet, if you're there at Frankfurt, Kidlat Tahimik, Rio Alma, and much, much more. Our literary icons as well. You have Ambeth Ocampo, Jessica Zafra, Butch Delisay. You have your awesome comiqueros, Manix Abrera. Budget Tan will be there of Trece. You have so much more. And, of course, our children's, right? So you have... just a gamut of all of these really great individuals, authors, and illustrators that will be there.
So very exciting. I feel a bit guilty because we worked on this together when I was with you at NBDB, but Senator Lauren sometimes teases me that I left you guys behind to do all the heavy lifting. But you guys seem to be doing well.
Well, with your help, of course. I mean, we've worked on this.
No, well, you take the credit.
But you had signed the contract with Jürgen, and I remember that point in time when we were in Davao, just, signing all of that and doing the initial work for that. So we thank you for all of that support.
Of course, the NCCA is also part of the preparation, right?
Yes.
What's their role?
So with the NCCA, so the NBDB works more on the literary programs and the secretariat, the main secretariat, and we work with all of the literary figures. And the NCCA, they deal with the cultural performances.
Okay.
And this is headed by Dr. Ariel Lopez. And she works with Patrick Flores, who curated the pavilion design. And they're also curating some exhibitions that you'll see and the cultural programming all around Frankfurt.
And Patrick, of course, came up with this concept of the theme, right?
Yes.
Imagination People's
Imagination People's
Can you talk
Year.
about that? What was the inspiration for that theme?
So the inspiration of the theme was he took it
from Rizal. Right?
Yeah, from Rizal, from Noli. And it was at this point where Sisa had lost her children, essentially, and she was going through this moment where she was essentially hallucinating. And the actual translation, because this is just part of one sentence, is Imagination People's Year with Specters. And this is a translation by Derbyshire.
Right.
And he removed the specters, and now you have a whole nother, I guess, meaning of this term, this phrase, Imagination People's the Air. So you think of authors and creators creating, and they're filling up this space, right? So as you read, all of this, I guess, the imagination, it takes over. So.
Well, so now Filipinos will be...
and now we're taking over, right?
You know, we're Frankfurt in October. We'll have to take a quick break. We are watching the Chairman's Report. We'll be right back.
Gisingin na at salubungin ang umagang puno ng kaalamang pangkalusugan. Hindi na kayo mag-worry dahil ang inyong concerns ay sagot na ng ating mga bisitang doktor at espesyalista. Matuto kasama nina Doc Cel Martinez at Jerome Sang sa Doc Ruba tuwing Sabado alas 8 ng umaga dito sa IBC 13. Kulang ang araw mo kung wala ang kids na hindi lang cute at charming, kundi super talented din.
It's a time for the people of Iloilo to show their love for their faith and celebrate a rich culture. Young shows the world how rich and diverse Filipino culture is.
Panoorin sila sa Talents Academy every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm Dante Klinkan. We're talking to Charisse Aquino-Tugade of the NBDB. You mentioned Budgetan a while ago, and Teresa. You know, it's really it really makes you proud to see people like Budget and other creatives in the diaspora doing so well at making their mark in the publishing world. But for those maybe who are not familiar with Teresa, tell us about Budget, you know, and the work that he does.
Okay, so Budget is a comicero and he's an author. So he was writing Trece for some time, and he works with this wonderful illustrator named 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢. I forget his last name, but 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢 is amazing.
Is he also working for Lego like Budget?
No, 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢 is based in Davao.
In Davao,
so
okay.
he was with us during the Philippine Book Festival last year.
Okay.
But you have Budget, who has migrated to Denmark, and he's one of, I believe, I don't know if he's the creative director in Lego. He's one of the creatives behind Lego, and
really the pride of the Philippines. Huh?
Totally. And he will be with us at Frankfurter Buchmesse. And what's so great about him is that his story resonates with so many people, so much so that it was adapted into an animated film.
Right.
And this animated film was produced by a group in Indonesia and with Tanya Yuson, who's also a Filipina doing really great work with the industry. And so this is just a start, because there's so much more stories that are, we have so many stories, and we need more I guess, connection with other creative agencies so that we can start pitching our stories for cross-media adaptation. Before, in the 1950s, a lot of the comics were adapted into movies, and a lot of stories were adapted. But then, you know, because there's so much influence globally, let's say you have the Korean telenovelas, you have all of this. So there's a tendency to choose imported because it's easier, right? It's easier. It's okay, we just buy the rights. But what about our stories? And what's so funny is that we have so many stories that are already being translated abroad, but you don't see here. You don't see it so much here. One of my favorite books, a comic book, is Alandal, and it's now actually it's very
from Paulo Harris.
Yes, this is by a man named J. Ignacio.
Okay. Part of that comic group.
Yes, and his book is translated into, I think, 8 different languages. Wow. So I'd like to see more of that here. And if it was adapted into a movie or a musical, there's so many great stories kasi that can be, you know, can shift, go different ways.
But the comics is very interesting because you've spent a lot of time and effort trying, promoting the comic books and illustrated novels. Paulo's group with Comic It is I think an example of that. And I understand they're getting grants from abroad also now, and really there's a lot of interest, not just from Filipinos but from all over the world.
Our graphic novels and comics are the fastest growing genre, and #1 in terms of rights globally. And you have a group, Paulo Harris, who runs Comic It, and you have Black Ink, you have Comic-Con, you have a wonderful woman, amazing woman, and her name is Nida Ramirez, who runs Avenida, who just has an eye for just these really great titles. And, you know, she has it. So every time something comes out, people pick it up. So you have Tuttle looking at her stuff even before it's out, because they want her books. So if we can, you know, we have so much more creatives, and I feel that we just need more. We could produce more, right?
And I guess it just shows that, you know, the Filipino books are not just for Filipinos. And we've talked about this quite a bit, you know, at NBDB, that maybe, you know, we shouldn't be so shy about our creatives, right? Because they're you know, they can hold their own against, you know, the best in the world. Okay?
Yes, and I feel that we actually are we're outsourced a lot. So a lot of our animation, a lot of our work is outsourced. So we want to be able to not be always behind the scenes. So Frankfurt is such a good avenue for that. Whatever you feel, what type of, you know, whatever, Frankfurt is the space for you. And we, as the Philippine government, hold that space, and we invite everyone to take part in sharing their voice, their unique voice.
And you said that there were some books already picked up by foreign publishers. I think Butch Delisai's books are among them. And you know, is there, you know, what can you share with us about that, or maybe some other books that were able to get grants for maybe foreign language translations?
We have, so many countries have this program. It's a translation program wherein they fund a translation, a portion of it. So the Philippines, we have that, but Germany has it, Norway, the Arab countries have it. But we constantly are getting grants from abroad, and vice versa, right? So there are publishers abroad that would like our book, and they ask for that grant as well. And it's important because the Philippines is such a new market. so that when they do apply for the grant, it's easier for them.
Right.
So now you have titles, fiction, nonfiction, children's. You have the books of Ambeth Ocampo that are new, that will be out in
About Rizal? Or?
in about a variety of things. Yes. So he has, I think, 1 or 2 titles by 𝐶𝐚𝐢 Press that will be out in October.
Okay.
You have
Just in time for the Frankfurt.
just in time for Frankfurt Buchmesse. You have Jessica Zafra. You have Blaise Gakoskos, who was with us in Germany a few months back. But his book, Kites in the Night, is fantastic. It's like flying off the shelves. So you have the larger, like in Germany, their larger bookstores are already carrying our titles, which just goes to show you that our titles are worth worth it. And not only in Germany, but globally. You have a move from Central Asia, which we never thought was not
Central
even
Asia.
Central
Okay.
Asia. So you have
So the
all
Stan
the
countries.
stands, all the stands. Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, you have Azerbaijan. They're picking up our titles and they're
Really?
picking up
That's
our
interesting.
children's books. Yes, we never even thought that
That could be a potential market.
it could be a potential market. So there is a market for all of the books that we have, and I think it's really trying to put ourselves out there.
Right. Now, there's a sizable Filipino community in Germany, but it's, it might be interesting for you to know that some of the people we've talked to across Europe, they already know about the Frankfurt Book Fair and that the Philippines will be the guest of honor. But will there be an opportunity for the diaspora or the members of the Filipino community to meet the creatives that you're bringing there to attend the events? And is that something that are there events open for them?
Yes, of course. So we have events even prior to the book fair.
Okay.
So we have our exhibition openings, which everyone is invited to join, and it's all on our website, books.gov.ph, and on our Philippine Frankfurt Guest of Honor website as well. We have a very special event on October 11, and this is with your agency, and I'm so thankful that we're partners on this one because we're taking over an entire culture space. It's this library called Culture Forum in a city called Hanau. Hanau is where the Brothers Grimm's from Hanau.
Okay.
So this entire space will have exhibitions. We will have workshops for families and kids where they get to learn about Philippine culture, heritage, read our books. They learn from, there is this wonderful artist, historian, author. His name is Randy Valiente.
Okay.
And he would be, he does the art of hagod. And hagod is a specific comic style illustration that's our own.
Okay.
And he teaches that. So he does hagod. And then you have Liza Flores, Beth Parocha, Daniel Florendo, who will be doing workshops throughout the day. So that's exciting, and that's free.
That's October 11.
Yes, that's October 11 in Hanau.
But you mentioned a film showing as well, and then many other events. I think the last time we talked, you just got back from the press conference in Berlin, but there was also an event in Leipzig.
Yes. So we have film showings. We're actually showing 𝐷écada 70, and this is it will be in the film museum. I cannot pronounce the name. It's in German.
Go to the website of NBDB.
Yes, go to the website. Well, we have so much of that. And then in terms of the actual fair, we have 5 days of hanging out, enjoying Filipino culture, looking at our books, meeting our authors, more than 100 of them. But, as Filipinos, you have one author, he'll bring his family, so then we're like 300 already.
Yeah, well, I forgot to mention one of the partners of this massive event is the Department of Foreign Affairs. You're working also with the Philippine Consulate in Frankfurt and the Philippine Embassy in Berlin, right?
Yes. So we're so grateful to have them. So I was just on a call with
your boots on the ground, so to speak. Yeah.
With Amba Susi and Ambassador Susi Natividad, and with Conjen Ivy Banson,
the champion of 𝐸.
Yes, the champion of 𝐸. But they are working hard to make sure that when we get there, we will it's all going to be smooth sailing because it's such a huge event. You have 50 publishing houses, you have events everywhere. Plus, that's not even the selling of the book. So you have to actually sell the rights. So we're trying to sell the rights to everyone. So in order for people to be interested in the rights, you have to show them what the Philippines is because they don't know who we are. So, yeah.
We'll talk more about books. We'll just have to take a quick break. I'm 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐭. You're watching the Chairman's Report. Please stay tuned.
Pinakamay init na balita. Ihahatid ng deretsahan. Walang pasikot-sikot. At laging totoo.
Ako, si Francis Riudique ng IBC News.
Express Balita. Lunes hanggang Biyernes. Dito sa IBC 13.
Travel goals? Hindi papahuli dyan si Diego.
Look at that. We're gonna be hanging loose. Kaya suwak ito para sa quick nature trip.
Samahan siya sa kanyang adventurous trip habang tinutuklas ang bawat sulok ng Pilipinas at ang natatanging culture, cuisine, and everything in between. Sa Kultura, tuwing Sabado alas 11 ng umaga dito sa IBC 13.
Well, welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐂𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐭. We're talking to NBDB Executive Director Charisse Aquino-Tugade. You know, as big as the Frankfurt event is, it's not the only thing on your plate. you know, one of the things that I was proud to be associated with was your project, the Book Nook, which is I think caught on. It's growing very well. Talk about the Book Nook for those who haven't heard about it.
Okay, so we realized that there are not enough Filipino books in anywhere.
Yes.
So you go to the bookstores, you go to the libraries, kulang tayo with our own books, which is quite unfortunate because we have so many languages and
as you said, they're making their inroads around the world.
And
right?
you know, we're really here to saturate our own market and to ensure that each child has a book to read and can see themselves in the books that they read. So we wanted to create spaces that were easy for people to enter and not so like you have to dress up, you have to be quiet, but something that was a little bit more relaxed.
Right.
And so we thought we conceptualized the Book Nook. And Book Nooks are spaces filled with Filipino authored books. And it could be any space, palengke, it could be part of a library, part of a house, part of a museum, just a portion where we fill it up with Filipino authored books. And what we do is we have about 1,200 titles, and we try to cater it to your region. So let's say you're in Barm, you're in Isabela. So we try to get the books that are in the languages that people speak, but of course everything else as well.
Right.
And what we do is we train the owner of that space, or the caretaker of that space, on how to manage a book nook, because it isn't a library. It's a space that is more of a cultural space. So we get people, we teach art, we teach mommies how to read, we teach children how, everything, acting, so that they can just get into the space and be comfortable, whether it's loud or quiet or not, and pick up a book as well. Because there's so many other forms of media that children are into, and a book isn't one of them, right? Maybe if you're very young it is, but for the older kids are already on their phones. So they're not reading books on their phones because we don't have so much, digital, those ebooks, and they're on their TikTok or whatnot. So we wanted to create a space that's super conducive and that everyone would want to go into. And the training is about 3 to 6 months, actually more than 6 months. For the partners, and anyone can apply. But it's very rigorous, so I think we had 100 applications, this 120, and
how many are there now? Because I think the last time there was 50 or something the first year.
Yes.
And then it grew, I think, 30 plus, 40 plus.
So we have 113 plus 20. So we're at about 125 this year.
From Luzon all the way down to Mindanao, right?
Luzon all the way down from Mindanao. So we're quite excited about that. And everyone wants a book nook because it's kulang, right? And there is a need. And we're so glad that we have our legislators batting for us to support the book nook. We have DepEd supporting us, and all of the communities as well. So the communities, actually, once you set up a book nook, kids are not only reading and families are not only reading, but they take part in the creation where they start creating their own stories. And that's what we want for people to start creating their own in their own voice. So by next year I think we're putting another 20 up. So by 2028 we're looking at about 160, 170 book nooks.
And it's caught on, as I say. I hear SM using the term book nook for their own.
Yes, actually,
was that your initiative?
No, what was so funny is that our book nooks launched at the same time. But it was just like an organic thing. They also called it the book nook. The reason I called it a book nook was because I had a space that I used to go to where I lived in Muntinlupa called Nook, and it just inspired me because it was like a nook where people and nook. It's like a little space, nook, right? Like look. So
interesting. And as you said, these are not exactly libraries, but and I think if I remember correctly, there was one area, I think it was in Banawe or in the mountain province somewhere, that was in the market or something like that?
Yes, so we're trying to get more of those spaces in the market because the parents bring their children, and now we're getting more schools that are applying.
Fantastic.
And then the barangay hall.
Was there a mobile one also?
There's a mobile one. We have a mobile one in Tagum. Mobile
Is this a bus or something?
Yes, it's a bus. Mobile one in Davao. And it really depends on our partner, whatever space they want to give. We have space. We have a space in Tumbler. It's a barangay in Gensan. General Santos City, and it's small. It's about 10 square meters, tiny. But the community uses it and they're happy with it. So whatever space you can give, we will do it. And if you are willing to do the work, we will train you.
That's fantastic. And when I left NBDB, you guys were talking to, was it Michigan or Chicago?
Yes.
The Filipino communities there, did that prosper?
So we actually have one. We have sorry, I spoke over you.
No, sorry.
We have one in Korea.
Korea.
I forget the city, and we also have one in Michigan.
So
we, of course, to reach the diaspora, because there's so many 1/6 of our population live and work abroad. So you want to be able to cater to them as well. And so that's what we're doing.
I think I must have mentioned to you once that our commission works with the Philippine schools overseas. So there are 34 schools abroad that cater to mainly the children of OFWs. If we wanted to promote Book Nook to them, what do they have to have to be, considered
So
as a
for-
partner for Book Nook?
For the Book Nook, they can just apply.
Okay.
And the application, though, for this year is already closed. But for
Right.
next year, they can
Yeah.
apply. And if they pass through all of their requirements,
But is
then why not?
there like a minimum space required? Or?
As long as they have someone to manage the
Okay.
space and they have a 5-year sustainability plan,
Okay.
5 years. Because
Okay.
we don't want people, it's easy to give books.
Right.
So many people do
Right.
it. But you give books, people will.
It's not enough
If
to
it's-
just have it there, right?
Yeah. If they
You have
can't
to have some
manage the
training,
space, if they can't,
Yeah.
if they don't do a program, we're not going to give
Right.
it. We've had spaces, and actually, we just pulled out some books in one space in 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐽 because it was quite problematic. So we pulled it out, and then we
Right.
put it in another space in
Right.
𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐽. So it's really kind of just as long as there's a manager
Right.
that is willing
Right.
to do the work, we do it.
Well, I think we can find some willing partners for you. But do they pay for the books?
The books in the Philippines
Okay.
are free.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Okay.
But what we can do with the ones that are abroad,
Right.
they can buy the books, and it's not that expensive.
Okay.
Right. But all of the training will be for free.
I see.
So we can provide the training.
Okay.
We can set it up. We can give you. Essentially, we would be like a franchise, and then we
Right.
would give all of the design.
Right.
Yes.
Because I visited some Philippine schools in Riyadh, and they have some books, but mostly hand-me-downs from the American school, from
Yeah.
the British school. Certainly no Filipiniana material.
Okay.
So
Yes, and
it's,
that's unfortunate.
It's
because-
unfortunate because they are catering to Filipinos living abroad. And,
Yes.
And we want to give more support to these schools because it's they talk about social costs of labor migration, and this is a way to keep families together. But of course, we also want to ensure that they have quality education and quality materials.
Yes, and by getting hand-me-downs is fine, but if you don't have
That's-
anything that
yeah.
represents
Yeah.
your own or
Our own stories,
yeah,
yeah,
your
yeah.
own stories, then it's kind of So we can do that, and we can definitely work with you and look at modalities where we can work even more closely together, whether it's providing a free book package or more training
Right.
or whatnot. We could definitely do that, of course, with all of the schools.
And of course, the other thing maybe they can participate in is the Philippine Book Festival,
Yes.
which you started. And
Yes.
so there was one in March, partly book fair, partly scoping for DepEd. And what's the plan for the next one?
Yes, for the next one, so we're doing the Philippine Book Festival again next year, and
Okay.
it's believe in the second week of March,
Okay.
before Holy Week. So
Right.
about 2 weeks before, second week of March of 2026. So the Philippine Book Festival is the largest Filipino traveling book fair, and what's exciting about it is you're not just buying books. You're meeting authors.
Right.
You're taking in workshops and classes. So it's highly programmatic. So parang it's like a Disney-fied version of a book festival, and it's really for families.
So you have the Olympics of books in Frankfurt.
Yeah, Olympics of books
And now
in
you have
the
the Disney in
Yes.
the Frankfurt book. Okay.
But we have our own, right? So the Philippine Book Festival, it's really that. It's just an explosion of fun, energy, and getting kids to read the book because there's so much other media that they are looking at. So you have to find ways for them to enter the space and to pick up a book.
Right.
Right. So,
And the difference with this is that most of the books or most of the exhibitors are Philippine publishers.
yes, 90%.
Nothing wrong with with the other book fairs. So you
Yes.
have foreign books, but for this one, you really highlight our own. Right?
Yes. So 90% are Filipino, about 95%. And yes, because why not? Why not?
Right.
Right? It's time to celebrate us. It's time to celebrate our diversity. And especially because it's really difficult for books in Mindanao and Visayas to enter Manila and vice versa, right? We don't get to see Visayan titles. Why not, right? There are there more
So many good ones, yeah.
Yeah, so sayang. So we really want to just have that space. And plus, we work with the Department of Education to have them scope for the book so that they can buy it for their own library hubs and their own schools as well.
Great. So I'll just have to take a quick break. You're watching the Chairman's Report. We'll be right back with Charisse Aquino-Tugade of the NBDB.
Gisingin na at salubungin ang umagang puno ng kaalamang pangkalusugan. Hindi na kayo mag-worry dahil ang inyong concerns ay sagot na ng ating mga bisitang doktor at espesyalista. Matuto kasama nina Doc Cel Martinez at Jerome Sang sa Doc Ruba tuwing Sabado alas 8 ng umaga dito sa IBC 13. Kasama si Greg Gregorio, sama-sama nating alamin at tuklasin ang mga tungkuling ginagampanan ng bawat miyembro ng gabinete at ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. para sa pagbabago at kaunlaran ng ating bansa. Sa Cabinet at Work, tuwing Lunes, 1:30 ng hapon. Dito sa IBC 13.
Meow! Kumusta mga sayanista? Let's go, mga sayanista! Halina't sumama kina Kuya Ro at Agham sa kanilang nakaka-excite na adventures habang natututo ng kamangha-manghang lessons about science and technology.
Oh, mga sayanista, makinig na mabuti.
Sabay-sabay tayong mag-explore, mag-eksperimento at mag-enjoy sa Sayanista tuwing Linggo, alas 4 ng hapon.
Don't be late ha! Dito lang sa IBC 13!
Lots of capital. Probably open. Well, welcome back to the Chairman's Report. We're talking to NBDB Executive Director Charisse Aquino-Tugade. Let's take a step back a bit because the larger issue in the news is this alarming rate of illiteracy. That I don't know. It seems challenging to many people to make the public excited about books. But you and I, of course, we love books. But what are your thoughts there? What can be done to make more people read it, to address this issue of illiteracy?
Okay. This is a loaded question, and I can go on.
Yeah.
But government side, the NBDB, what we did is we created a platform so that people that are in charge of sharing these books with children have a platform to buy them and to be educated about the books that are available to them. Right, so this is why we set up the Philippine Book Festival, and we train 750 DepEd scopers. These are the people that are in charge of looking at the books, procuring the books and whatnot. So they need training, and so that's what we do, and we give them that space, right? Because it's difficult to find our titles. There is always that primacy on foreign titles, which is fine, but we're also kulang. We're kulang ng books, right? And then everyone focuses on textbooks. It's fine, no problem. Focus on the textbooks. But as a child, when you think of your favorite book, you're not going to think of a textbook, right? It's not something that you think about. You think about a trade book. You think about a book that you read for fun.
Right.
And that's what is not available in the Philippines, right? So we need to be able to ensure that these trade books that we already produce, it's not like we don't produce them. It's that,
as you said, the Central Asian countries are
already looking at our titles.
Us,
So the problem is the people that are in charge of procuring don't have that education. So if you educate the people that are procuring or curating their bookstores, then you have that. And then now the problem is a lot of parents don't read. So it's also training the mothers. I was in Tawi-Tawi. There are children that can read, but their parents don't read. How are they going to have that habit?
What do you do with your daughters? I mean, do you spend time reading books with them?
I spend time reading
Does
with
that
them.
really work? Or?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
It's important that you do this reading early on with the kids because it's a habit, right? So if they're used to doing it, if you're used to watching TV at 8 o'clock at night, Right. It's a habit now. So
course,
if you're used to reading a book with your child, your child will get used to it. And it's a start. And then by the kids seeing these words like tactile, right? Because children, everyone talks about digital, your phones, which is fine. But when you're starting, you need to start with something tactile. It's another level of learning.
So you engage more of the senses.
You engage more of the senses. You teach the child to be patient, because once you're on the phone, they're not patient. They're just tapping. You're patient, and then by looking at the words and by tracing the words. In Montessori, they do that. They do a lot of this tracing the words. So maybe it's looking back and seeing how the school's teaching how to read. Are they making it exciting? Because if they're doing it through a textbook, it's not going to be that exciting. So you need to fill all of these schools with these really fun books that engage the child, so that they think they associate it with fun. That's what we try to do with the Philippine Book Festival. We're just associating it with fun. Right? If you associate it with work and be quiet and math, they're not going to do it. Right? So this problem of illiteracy, it can be, we just all have to work together as parents, as educators, as people responsible for purchasing books. And that's just you and me. It's the teacher. It's the school. It's everyone.
You organize this National Alliance for Reading. So what is that about?
Yes. So we have a program called the National Alliance of Readership Advocates, right? It's called NARA. And we get all of the reading advocates together. So all of these groups that are already doing the work, because there's a lot, right? Some of them are grassroots. Some of them have funding. Some of them are small. Some of them are large. But what's happening is that they're not talking to each other. So if you're not talking to each other and you're all doing these micro things, it doesn't work. So what if we aligned everyone, check everyone's programming, and see how we can sew everything together and bind it together like a book, bind it together and see, okay, you need funding here, you're working in this certain area, okay, let's do that. This guy has this funding, you do this, right? So then at least it's a little bit more organized, because it's not, it's I mean, you see the literacy, it's terrible, right? You have you have children that really can't read. I met a 12-year-old girl who could not read.
That's terrible.
Could not read. And her mother, no read, no write. She can't even text.
So, how early should parents start exposing their books to their children?
Oh, early, when they're babies. It's not like you're teaching them like, this is A, this is B. You're just reading to them. It's just the act of that.
So make it fun,
to just make it fun. And then later on, when they're 4 or 5, then you can start all of that with their preschool. But if they're not in preschool, I feel that
last year you guys commissioned a survey, a readership survey. It's the first time you've done it in a while for that particular report. But the thing that caught my attention there was people want to read, except that they lack access.
Yes.
But and for a while that was my mindset. Maybe just access, and the Book Nook was one solution to that. But I had a guest here last week who was telling me that they teach they volunteer. These are teachers from the United States. They volunteer to teach here during their summer break. And she was saying that it's not enough to make it merely accessible. That you have to actually, as you said, actually engage.
Yes, and I think
because part of the things she was saying was that it's not natural for children to read, but it's natural for them to speak. So when you read out books, they learn. That's the way for them to
read aloud.
It's a more scientific way. I never really thought about it that way, but I thought that was a pretty interesting perspective. That merely making it available is not enough. It's good, a good step, but you have to do more and really just spend time
to do that. So imagine if we had the Book Nook where we provide the access, we train the caretaker of the Book Nook on how to manage the area, and then you have those volunteers teach the reading, then you'll have something a little bit more robust. So we're looking for partners like that. And I think, you know, on the national scale, we really have to work together, because providing a textbook, I am all about textbooks, but it is not just the textbook. It is the books that you read for fun. Because no one ever thinks, okay, what's my favorite book? Oh, yeah, it's this textbook from grade 2. No one ever will say that. Yeah, no one. Right? Chemistry.
Well, talk about NARA. So, so who are the who are the groups that you've assembled for this campaign? What are you doing with this advocacy? We
were supposed to have a readership hackathon when it was Baguio. Yeah, readership hackathon, where everyone thinks of create these ideas and whatnot to work together. But I think we're going to do it next week. But I actually don't have the date.
Okay.
But it's on our website.
Visit the NBDB website.
Yes, and on our social media.
Okay.
Because we're in social media, we answer everything.
What's your Facebook page?
It's a National Book Development Board.
Okay.
So yes, NBDB Phil.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are they doing in NARA? What are some of the projects?
So we're getting everyone together, and what we do, we have mentors. So
that's great.
We have these wonderful mentors, and you'll see them on our Facebook page, and they're helping us kind of just work together and see, because this is something that's very, very new. And
so if people want to volunteer to read to kids, is that something?
Yes.
Is that something possible?
Yeah, they can work with us. So if anyone and everyone, we're open. If you're a big organization, if you're an individual, we're open to it. And to volunteer for the Book Nooks as well. We're always open to that.
And then what's interesting is that you guys are not just working with English writers and Tagalog writers, but you're also working with all languages in the Philippines.
Yes, of course. So, and actually we're bringing a good amount of writers to Frankfurt as well. But just last week, we had funded this wonderful program, which is the SOX Writers Program. So this is a group coming out of Soxergen. So you have South Cotabato, Sarangani, all of these really amazing writers, and they do a workshop. So if we could do more of those in the Philippines, and next year we're really focusing on that, we have to.
Yeah, I guess the point I was trying to make is, you get people hooked on reading by maybe reading books in their own language.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be English right away or Tagalog right away.
Yeah, it's their own language. And I mean, it's like if you don't know how to speak Filipino, if you're not speaking Tagalog, you're speaking Bisaya, why will you read a book in a language they don't understand? I remember I was in one of the Aita communities, and we were giving books as part of the Book Nook, and she looked at the books and she goes, "Where's my book?" And I said, "There's no books in your language, I'm so sorry." And I felt so bad, because she was looking for it, and there's nothing that represents her with her curly hair and very brown skin. Nothing. So it's, how sad is that we can't find ourselves in our book? So
we'll work with you on that.
Yes, please.
We'll work on you on that and much more. Thank you, Charisse, for making time for this program.
Thank you very much.
I always enjoy talking to you and working with you especially. Before we end the program, maybe you have a message for our audience?
Yes. Please visit us at books.gov.ph. You will find all of our programs, and please follow us at the National Book Development Board in all of the social media. We're also on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram as well. If you are in Germany, please visit us at the Frankfurter Buchmesse or Frankfurt Book Fair. We are the guest of honor from October 14 to 19, 2025. So that's about 68 days away. And we will also please visit the Manila International Book Fair. It's the largest book fair in the Philippines by Prime Trade, and this is in September as well. So let's collaborate and see you soon.
We have to talk again. I didn't get the chance to talk to you about MIBF. But again, thank you, Charisse. I'd like to thank our audience and, of course, IBC 13 for making this program possible. This has been the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐷𝐐𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐿, and I will see you next week. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.